Bonjour les amis. Bonjour. Welcome to the Luxembourg Gardens. Bonjour. Welcome. What a peaceful scene. It's after 2:30 p.m. in Paris today. The rain has stopped for a while, but it's a little chilly. I'd say it's in the low 60s, very low 60s. I have my umbrella just in case. And I'm sitting very comfortably, I must say, on a couple of these iconic chairs that you find all over the gardens. Yes, a dry day still then, hopefully. You can see these gentlemen over there playing chess. One of many areas in the Jardin du Luxembourg, the Luxembourg Gardens, where people, Parisians, can play, relax, enjoy themselves. This is a great park to do that, and it's probably their favorite one. No, Mr. G, the Eiffel Tower, we are not in the Loire Valley, we are in Paris. Feet up is the only way to go, Sylvain, when you have that many available chairs. I just had a lovely lunch with a good friend of mine, and we'll be sure to share some photos tonight, because the restaurant where he took me was really nice, and I hope all of you pay them a visit when you return to Paris. So I'll be sharing some information about that tonight. I'll tell you more about my friend as well. You know him. You know my friend. You won't be surprised when you see him. Anyway, he had to run to an appointment, and before I go home and teach a French class later today, I thought I would walk through a part of the Luxembourg Garden. This happens to be my favorite section of the garden, so why not? Yeah, it is quiet, Lisa, you're right. So I'm going to let you enjoy the sights. I know you've already been here many times. I know you've taken tours here probably many times. No, Sylvain, it's not the friend with the boat. This beautiful building on the left, and you probably know this, is the Orangerie. A long time ago, this big building ahead of us where the French Senate sits used to be a palace, and most chateaus and palaces in climates like Paris had an orangerie where they could winterize the plants, which is why you have so many of these plants, the exotic ones especially, growing in those giant crates so they can be winterized. They call them the caisses, C-A-I-S-S-E. Yes, I'm just being a little slow. I guess lunch was a little too good, probably. So let's just stroll for a few minutes so you can join me. And as you know, there's a lot to do and see in these gardens. Whether you just like people watching or playing or reading a book. No, I am glad you can join me to have your morning coffee. Thank you for being here. Look how funny the patterns. It's like the chairs go 2 by 2. 2, 2, 2, 2. You would believe Parisians never travel solo, but they do, they do. This fountain is dedicated to a painter, romantic painter, Eugène Delacroix. I'll be honest with you, I'm not in tour guide mode or tour guide mood right now. I'm sure the big Medici fountain is still undergoing some repair work, so at least you will have seen this one. These trees, those platane, sycamore trees, are the oldest ones in the park. That's why I like coming here. Thanks for being understanding, Lisa. Sometimes you have a nice lunch and you feel a little tired, so I think we'll just stroll, right? In 1999, we had a big windstorm around Paris and northern France, and so many trees got destroyed around the French capital, around the country as well. And the Luxembourg Gardens and the Bois de Vincennes and other parks lost a lot of trees. So when the dust settled, here at the Luxembourg, these trees were the oldest ones, basically still standing. So it's a pretty special section of the park. Yes, you're correct, Liliane. You could be a whole day here and not see it all. Especially if you stop and look at the history and what happened here and the different stages of the design of this place and who interfered and why. This is the side of the Senate building today. French Senate sits here. I'm going to face the wind. Not ideal. Oh well, c'est la vie. Wind is part of life in Paris too. If I climb here, you should have a nice view of the building. I'll do that. I remember taking friends with Véro club members here on a stroll in September, and the weather was beautiful. It was so hot. Bonjour, bienvenue. We're just taking a little stroll in the Luxembourg Gardens. Quite a peaceful scene right now at almost 3 p.m. in the afternoon. The famous queens, the 20 statues of the queens that surround the park. One of them is Mary de Medici, who was Henry IV's wife, and she's the one who had this palace built because she was fed up with living at the Louvre, damp, dreary Louvre on the right bank. Yeah, I know you must be surprised to see the park so peaceful and quiet. To us, I guess it's not that surprising anymore because we've seen it like this on and off for the last year, though at times after the end of the first lockdown, for example, or last summer, it was extremely busy. See the peak over at the top of the Tour Montparnasse. Look at all these empty chairs. It's quite a privilege actually to be here like this. And I am thoroughly enjoying it. Salut le pigeon. Ça va? Dis donc, t'es bien nourri, hein? He's so fat. That pigeon has been having lots of good meals. Bonjour. Ça va? He's like, do you have something for me? I do not, pigeon. Je suis désolée. He's rather plump. So this is what you do here. You come with a book and close your eyes sometimes and you take a nap. Put your feet up when you don't have to fight for space and chairs with visitors, so it's quite lovely. That queen over there is Anne of Brittany. Very powerful leader in her time, in her day. So I've been trying to document what happens to Paris before and after the reopening of our beloved cafe and terrace. You've seen a lot of images yesterday. I shared some of them and you've seen many more, I'm sure, on social media. And so I thought I'd stop by here on my way home because there is a restaurant where I had a really nice lunch here last fall and I wanted to see if it was open or not. So I'll walk in that direction. It's inside the park and I thought we could take a look. Maybe it's closed, but we'll see. If everybody's on with the plan. Welcome if you just joined us. We are taking a stroll in the Luxembourg Gardens. Le Palais du Luxembourg, where the French Senate sits, is over there on the left. Quite mighty. Le Bassin, le Grand Bassin on the right, where typically you would have those little sailboats for kids that you can rent. Let's see if they're there today. I don't think so. Here's a nice view of the palace with the statue. This is quite nice. Ah ouais. This is definitely one of the most civilized, elegant places in Paris. A local favorite, a favorite with visitors as well. That's why it gets so crowded throughout the year. I guess we won't see the little boats today. right, so I'll go up there and try and see if that restaurant is open or not. Oh, look at the pretty coquelicot. Coquelicot, one of the prettiest words in the French language, I think. Coquelicot, poppies. Aren't they pretty? You see how a lot of the trees are inside those big caisses that I mentioned by the orangerie earlier, so they can take them and bring them in the winter. Yeah, those poppies are quite pretty. And the wind. Oh goodness, we have quite a few live viewers here. Thank you for joining me. This is supposed to be impromptu, but by now, of course, since I'm here throughout the week, I know some of you have been expecting these live feeds. More of the queens on the side. Here's one over there. This one is not a queen. This is the patron saint of Paris, Sainte Geneviève. La patronne de Paris, the sign says. And behind her, a beautiful gazebo for 19th century Parisian vibes. The wind's picking up. Ah, here's the restaurant I wanted to check out. This is not very old, this place. It's less than 2 years old, and I tried it last fall and it was lovely. The food was quite decent and service was super friendly, so I wanted to check if it was still open. It's called La Terrasse de Madame. I like the sound of that. La Terrasse de Madame. So when you return, don't hesitate to give it a try. You can see they have set up with umbrellas just in case, even though it's not raining today. And right below that is a restroom that you can use. The kind of restroom where you have to pay. It's a little bit like the old-fashioned Madame Pipi. Remember those? These trees, look, this entire section has been replanted. All the trees are new here. I'm going to take a peek at the menu to show you, because I know you all love hearing about history and architecture, but really what most of us are interested in when we travel is to look at locals, how they live, how they eat, how they entertain themselves. And this is what we're doing here today. La Terrasse de Madame. So fairly traditional fare. Les grandes assiettes du jardin would be very large salad plates with a lot of things in them. Prices are fair for Paris, I guess. And les plats are your main courses. You have the Luxembourg burger. Need to have a burger. Trying to not... There we go. Some meat. And then you have your formule, which is your prefix meal, where you can choose between entrée and plat, first course, main course, or plat et dessert, main course, dessert, for 22 euros. And if you add a few euros, 28 euros, you can get your dessert as well. And then you get to choose from the selection that's here. And drinks, as always, are not included. And then you have some wine. Let's not forget the wine. It's sold by the glass, and it's also sold by the bottle. Blanc, white, rosé, rouge, red. So a lovely little place. And typically you'll have to wait here and line up for it, wait for a table. But today it's not busy. And I really like the color combination. Isn't that pretty? A lot of work in this park was actually done in the 19th century, through the 19th century, which is why you have so much of the urban furniture, as we say, from the 19th century. Though originally, the chateau, the palace, was built by Mary de Medici in the 17th. It is a lovely little spot, isn't it? Oh, and on this chair, you see the logo here, the S for Sénat, the French Senate. Something worth remembering is that this garden is actually not managed by the city of Paris. It is run and owned by the French Senate. So everything that happens in the Luxembourg gardens, the Senate will decide. Which is why the chairs are branded French Senate. They belong to them like everything else here. All right, we'll walk past the Medici fountain and see how much progress has been made on the construction that started at the end of the summer, I believe, last year. I can still see scaffolding. The Greek actor. And look at this view. You see the Pantheon in the background? The Greek actor, learning his lines. Another side of the Senate. More stairs. Oh boy, still construction here. Restauration de la Fontaine Médicis. So they are still restoring it, but it's a little bit better than it was because you can kind of see it in the back now. Let's see, how about here? When I was last here in the fall, it was completely covered up. So it's improvement here. See, they've emptied all the water. Lots and lots of work. Yes, door, I won't push forward. The door wants me out. And like always in Paris, they explain to you the history of the fountain and what they're doing. So originally their timeline, they started in June, July of 2020. Which was right when France reopened the first time after the first lockdown, and they were scheduled to end between February, well, that's good, between February and June of 2021. So I guess in that sense, they're still okay. We'll see. These things have a tendency to run behind, don't they? All right, I'll be wrapping up in a few minutes so I can head back to Vincennes. Friends with Véro Club members, I will be tuning in and again in the private Facebook group in about a little less than an hour. I thought I'd take you for a session of lèche vitrine or window licking. We're going to walk through a pretty lively street, look at shop windows, look at clothing, look at food shops and see what's there. So we'll be doing that in a little less than an hour in the private Facebook group. I see some Australian friends are here. It's getting late in Australia now. Here's a map of the gardens, le Jardin du Luxembourg, and you can see how massive it is. So today we've basically done something like this. And then we went up here, we went down here, we climbed the stairs somewhere here, the restaurant is somewhere here, and the fountain, the Merci fountain is here, and here we are. I'll step outside. Big theater here, Théâtre de l'Odéon. With bullet holes on it. All tour guides will point at the bullet holes from World War II on the facade. Bullet holes. You might recognize some of your favorite eateries across the street. Au Petit Suisse, very popular place. Phyllis is here. I know she likes this one. It seems pretty quiet now. The lunch crowd is gone. And as always, along the Luxembourg Gardens, a photo exhibit all around it. Thank you. Well, thank you. That's very generous of you. I do rely on club membership to keep going, to keep this going, so this is very much appreciated. Thank you. Look at that, isn't that pretty? We have 13 au Jardin across the street. The terrace is kind of, you see how they've extended it into the street, what they call des terrasses éphémères. That's what they do now. And they'll be doing that through the summer with the City Hall's approval. All right, quick little hello. Voilà les amis, it was a quick one, but I hope you enjoyed the stroll in the Luxembourg Gardens with me today. With no rain, exceptionally, that was wonderful. So if you are a club member, like I said, meet me in about 45 minutes in the private Facebook group for a session of lèche vitrine or window licking. As for you all, my friends, thank you for being here, and I will catch you at the next one. Few more minutes. There you go. À bientôt. Have a great rest of your day and thanks for tuning in today. Bye bye.